All right. Shalom to the elect. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All right. And what I said was all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, who is the one the world ignorantly calls God, in the name of his son Yahweh Shai, who is the Messiah, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, in the name of the Holy Spirit, which in the Hebrew is Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. All right. And wait a minute 1 second. All right. And this is a response to a comment. Right. Now I'm gonna start by saying this. You either gonna believe or you're not. All right. And if you after you see this lesson, and the only reason I'm doing this lesson is because I truly thought that thought that you are trying to be sincere. So that's the reason why I'm doing this lesson. Okay, but if you expect me to go back and forth with you after this, I'm not. All right, you either believe or you don't. Okay, now this lesson is in response to a comment, right? Because we had the Passover, so I did a lesson on Passover, right? So this is a question posed by a person by the name of MJ Hunter. It says, question: we know there was no slavery in Egypt, since it has been disproven for decades now. E.g., which means example, finding tombs of workers, seeing the older Aramaic texts that don't mention it, etc., at least before the Assyrians or Persians arrived. And his first thing is, you're wrong, all right? We do know that there was slavery in Egypt, okay? But I'm going to go into it, all right? It says, we know that finding any reference to bondage and Kemet in any of our texts pre-1600s is near impossible, especially in the Aramaic, except in translated versions after the banishment or / expulsion from Europe. Then he said, we know that since that slavery that did not happen, he's talking about the ancient Israelite slavery in Egypt. Our captivity that we had in Egypt. That's what he's talking about. He said we know that since that slavery, in parentheses, that did not happen, we have experienced a slavery millions of times worse, literally millions of people and more brutal. How do you reconcile with this, brother? Genuine question. I'm trying to find the answer to myself. Shalom. Right, and that's the only reason why, because this last part is the only reason why I'm even considering doing this lesson. Okay? But, once again, you're going to believe or you're not. Okay? In cases, I'm doing this in cases, man, had came across some type of, some weird ass breakdown or whatever or something, somebody out there is, put on the internet, deceiving people, right? Now, the thing is, okay, I want to get something right now. The thing with this slavery, number one, you got to, first, number one, you got to be of the elect to believe this word. If you ain't of the elect, then, the Lord is not dealing with you and you're not going to understand the truth. Okay, that's just the God's honest truth. Okay. And number two, you got to stop listening to these people, that come up with all these different type of, all this type of like science and discoveries and all, now there are certain discoveries out there, but we line it up with the scriptures to make sure, that, what we are viewing, is true. Okay. Sensible or even plausible. All right. I'm using those words correctly. However, you got to stop listening to people, that, because there are people out there, I'm guessing this is where this person that got this, but even if you looked it up yourself, this is why you have to have apostles and elders, men over you teaching you the truth. And you should be learning from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. You see? You got to stop listening. But if you are listening to someone out there, and this goes not just for this person, but for anybody, that's listening to, these weird breakdowns and people, people calling themselves doing research, disproving the Bible. You can't be listening to stuff like that because you're gonna get confused. You see, like this person has said here, genuine question. I'm trying to find the answer to myself. All right, and once again, man, right? You either gonna believe or you not, okay? But regarding this whole research thing and finding different documents or whatever, look, you know, who you gonna believe? Are you gonna believe man or the Lord? I mean, if you're saying shalom, that you must believe that the Lord is real. Because if you listening, because there's research out there that says the Big Bang Theory happened. You know, there are people out there that try to call themselves pushing. Let me rephrase that. There's people out there that call themselves doing research on trying to prove that the Big Bang Theory exists or happened and God ain't real. So are you going to believe them too? Because there's, whatever type of research they've, pulled. Or are you going to believe the scriptures? All right. Because literally everything in the scriptures, okay, has happened. All right. Well, Slocky, let me rephrase that. But all the prophecies pretty much what I'm trying to say is in the scriptures, because there's prophecies that have already happened. Okay. And there's prophecies that have yet to happen. Salakia. That was a fumble of my words. Salakia means forgive me if you don't know. Right. But the Bible is a 100% true book. It's just people's understanding is what's wrong. Okay. But yeah, man, regarding, going into this research and documents and pre-1600s, look, there's people that call themselves researching all different types of, methods that they want to be true there's people out there researching all different types of areas that they want to be true that just simply aren't. Okay, like I said, there's people out there that try to put research together to prove that the Big Bang Theory happened. There's people that try to put research together that try to prove that God is not real, the Most High is not real. There's people that try to do that, and it's just, so what, are you going to believe them too? Right? The very world you live in, there's Bible prophecy going on as we speak. Okay? One of them just, just thought of it. Hey, Yahushua said false prophets are rising up. It's just, the scripture said that there will be earthquakes, famines in diverse places. These are prophecies. The Bible is real. Okay, but regarding this, slavery in ancient Egypt and everything, okay, that happened. Okay, that was, our first captivity, and we were those people, us Israelites, us so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans. We were those Israelites that were in Egypt in hardcore bondage under Pharaoh. Okay, that actually happened. All right. Now, before I get some scriptures, I just wanted to show a couple of things, right? Because there's people out there that, believe, all different types of things about this, right? But regarding in Egypt, okay, you have, what's known as the pyramids, all right? This is in Egypt, by the way, okay? But you have what's known as the pyramids. Now, the thing is, people try to come up with all different type of reasonings on how this was made, and I mean, now that I've, come to the, now that I've got some understanding, like, it just makes sense that us Israelites, we built these pyramids, Because then look, I'm about to show you another picture. If you don't think we built these pyramids, then who built these? Okay? I mean, it's just that, it's literally that simple, okay? And let me tell you something. The same people that built these pyramids built these. Okay? It's just that simple. The people that built these pyramids, are Israelites, Hebrew Israelites. And the same people that built these pyramids are Hebrew Israelites, okay? I mean, can't you, like, how is that even refutable, you know? Truth isn't refutable. It's just, people just try to disbelieve it, okay? But once again, you know, because we were them slaves back here in ancient Egypt, and we talked about the hardcore bondage and all of that, right? And you know, the people that built these, I believe this one may be in Mexico, all right, but it's either in Central or South, well, either Mexico, Central or South America, okay. And we know the indigenous people of those lands are Israelites, so-called Mexicans, so-called Central Americans, so-called Mayans and Aztecs. All right, they're the ones that built these type of pyramids. So it just makes sense on who would build something like this. Okay, if you might be wondering, reasoning how, you know, well, I mean, how did they build these? It's not really a hard thing to understand, but I just want to get this real quick. Okay. So I typed in on Google, how tall are the Egyptian pyramids, right? So it says the Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, originally stood at a height of 481 feet, which is 147 meters, but due to erosion and the removal of its outer casing, is now around 454 feet, right? 138 meters tall. So 154 feet, originally 481 feet, okay? Now, I looked up this, right? This is this pyramid, one of those pyramids. Okay, this is in Mexico. It says Teotihuacan, if I'm saying that right, ancient city of pyramids. This 2,000-year-old complex in Mexico was one of the largest urban centers in the ancient world. Right, so you got that. But then under it says so this is called the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan, if I'm saying that right. It says, located about 30 miles northeast of modern-day Mexico City, Teotihuacan was one of the largest urban centers in the ancient world. No one knows who built it. I mean, come on now. Like, we know who built these. Come on, man. All right. It says the city flourished because the scriptures talk about how in Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, that the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, all right, which is called Arsareth, no man actually lived here, dwelt here. King Solomon would send his navy to these parts of the world, to this part of the world, back and forth to get things, like certain exotic things and, resources and whatnot, all right? And then notice add at the bottom, okay? But, no, it says no man actually lived here, okay? Let me actually get that real quick. This is the book of Second Esdras, the 13th chapter, getting down to verse. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, okay? But this is going into how the northern kingdom of Israel, which are the so-called Latinos, the Native Americans, right? How they came to the Western Hemisphere of the world, So this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 13. Starting in verse 41, it says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So nobody actually lived over here in the Western Hemisphere. Nobody was literally staying over here before they got over here. You see? No wonder they're the so-called indigenous of, no wonder they're the indigenous peoples of the Americas. Okay? So that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So that was the purpose of them coming over here. They wanted to keep the laws, okay? So nobody had actually lived over here, okay, before they got here. But when they got here, they were the indigenous peoples, right? So if this was made, which was made, I believe pre-Columbian era. However, we understand that if Israelites were the first peoples on this western hemisphere of the world, they're the ones that made these pyramids. Okay? It says the city flourished between 2100 years ago when construction began and about 1400 years ago when it went into a period of decline, including a fire that caused great damage. However, even with the decline, the city was never truly lost. The Aztecs made regular pilgrimages to the site in later periods. All right? You know, and the scriptures talk about, the tribe of Issachar, which are the so-called Mexicans, so-called Aztecs, and the tribe of Zebulon, which are the, people from the so-called so-called Central Americans. All right, the people ranging from so-called Central Americans. I'm gonna say it like that. Okay, which tribe of Zebulon. Okay, now I went to the height here in the Pyramid of the Sun height, because that was the name of that massive pyramid. It's like 213 feet, and you would think how how could a person actually build that, you know? Well, I mean, it just happened, okay? Simple. A person, we Israelites, we're the ones that built it. I mean, it's really simple. That's why it sounds like, that's why I keep like pausing, because it's simple. All right, it's like easy to understand. That we're the ones that built these. If we built these, if our people, the Israelites, built these pyramids in Central and South America, and in Mexico, who do you think built the ones in Egypt? And then with the ones in Egypt, because those pyramids, are huge, right? What the scriptures talk about, because that Egyptian period, that Egyptian captivity, that was a long time ago, right? A couple thousand years ago, right? Or the scriptures talk about how, I'm gonna get it. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, right? And starting in verse 50, it says, "And I asked and said, seeing thou hast now given me the way, I will proceed to speak before thee. For our mother, of whom thou hast told me that she is young, draweth nigh to age," right? Should start at verse 51. But it says, "He answered me and said, Ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, Wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but of less stature?" So I'm going to read verse 53. It says, "And she shall answer thee, They that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb faileth, are otherwise." So scripture is saying, ask a woman, that a pregnant woman, why the children she has when she's younger are of greater stature versus the children she has when she's, older in age, right? Which are less of stature, okay? And as it says here, they that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that be born in the time of age, when the womb faileth, are otherwise, right? So it's given a comparison, right? Verse 54, here's the point. "Consider thou therefore also how that ye are of less stature than those that were before you." So, basically, this is the angel speaking to the prophet Esdras, right? And he's telling him, pretty much consider how you, Esdras, you're of less stature, you're of less height, you're smaller than, weaker than, those that came before, people that would be in what? King David's time, Moses' time, etc. Adam, all right? And then guess what? We're of less stature than the prophet Esdras, So when you talk about the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Egyptian pyramids, who built them, and how could if you might have that question, how could mankind possibly build that, Well, one, understand that we Israelites, we're the ones that built it, okay? And number two, we were stronger back in that time. We were physically strong. We were of greater stature back in that time versus now. This is why I pulled the scripture. All right. And the reason I'm talking about these pyramids and everything, all right, because when we get back to this question, it says, we know that there was no slavery in Egypt. So he said that. So the reason why I'm talking about these pyramids shows you that we Israelites, we had a presence in ancient Egypt. Okay, and why, we're the ones that, so if we built these pyramids, that goes to show you that what, we were also slaves in there. We were also slaves back in ancient Egypt. Okay, well, we would just build some random pyramids for the Egyptians. Like, come on now, we're the ones that built those. Okay, so this proves that whole Egypt thing. But I mean, I didn't even have to really go into that. But this was to answer your question, And the thing is, the scriptures always win. Okay, the scriptures always win. All right, and you got to stop listening. I don't know where you got this research from, this so-called research. All right, because if they're saying that, if you believe this, that either you or somebody else researched, but if you believe that, then you might as well not even believe in the Most High. Because if you don't believe that there's slavery in ancient Egypt, which the scripture let me say it again. If you believe that there was no Israelite slavery in ancient Egypt, then you don't believe the scriptures, you don't believe in the Most High. You don't believe that the scriptures are true. So you can't say that. And at the end of the day, it's just not true. Okay, there was Israelites in slavery in ancient Egypt. Okay, it's just that simple. All right, I just showed you the pyramids, showed you who built them. So, I mean, if we built them over there in Egypt, we the Israelites, if we built them over there in Egypt, okay, then that goes to show that we would have been slaves in ancient Egypt as well. Okay, we're the ones that built those pyramids, man. And before I go to that very last part, right? But yeah, once again, look, if you believe this research, then you have to believe that let me say it again. If you believe this research that you're saying here, then you must not believe in the Most High. Okay? Shalakia, bear with me 1 second. Which, I mean, look around you, man. Look at creation. Okay? Look at creation. You see trees, you see the sky, you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, you see the water and all of that. Who created that? And it's not no false God. All right? And before I forget, there was actually something else I wanted to show before I even move on with that point. Right? Let me get this. Of course they're gonna try to say it's full. They try to say everything is fucking, man. Look, right? Because someone had went down there, okay? Because the Suez Canal is where Moses parted, the Red Sea. Okay, when you hear about the Israelites leaving ancient Egypt, right? We left, all right, and we crossed through the sea. We crossed through the Red Sea at the Suez Canal. Okay, now someone had actually went down there and they found a chariot at the bottom of the Red Sea. And what did the scriptures say? The Lord drowned Pharaoh and his army in the sea. It talks about that. Okay, it talks about how the Lord drowned Pharaoh and his army in the sea. Somebody tried to say this was like a separate picture, whatever. Okay, but somebody tried to say that this exact picture was something different. But I mean, what about this one? Let me get a better one. See, what about this one? This is literally at the bottom of the sea, in the Red Sea. Okay. So, I mean, there's more proof but you shouldn't need proof. You should have faith in the scriptures. All right. You know. So I mean, there's more proof to show you that we Israelites are the real people, and that we had our first captivity was under the ancient Egyptians. Okay. I don't care what anybody tries to say. It's the scriptures. You can't beat the scriptures, man. All right. It's as simple as that. And if you don't believe it, then I mean, oh well. But then you can't turn around and say you believe in the Lord if you believe this research, right? And like I was saying about the whole thing about nature, man, look around you. Who do you think created everything you see? Okay, let me get this, because I was meditating on that question. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon. I love this chapter. Wisdom of Solomon 13, starting in verse 1. Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of the Most High, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is, neither by considering the works, talking about creation, neither by considering all of creation, looking around and everything, did they acknowledge the workmaster. All of this creation around you. All of this creation, right? And all of this creation around you, and you wouldn't believe in the Lord. You wouldn't think that an intelligent mind had created it. Verse 2, but deemed either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars or the violent water or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world. And you have people that literally think that. You have people that think, that these Salakia. You have people that literally think Salak. You have people that literally think that that believe that nature or whatever, are gods. And, you have people like that, okay? But verse 3, with whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods, let them know how much better the Lord of them is. For the first author of beauty hath created them. You see? Scriptures are real, man, right? You even have in your body what's called a system. You have a skeletal system. Your body operates, a certain way. In order to operate, a system has to be set up. Okay? A system has to be set up. Who you think set it up? Because it wasn't you. But it says, verse 4, but if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made them. Yeah. Verse 5, for by the greatness and beauty of the creatures, proportionably the maker of them is seen. Right? So just by looking at creation, you could tell that, okay, you know what? Yeah, someone had to make this. Someone had to make all of this. Because there's no way that this is just here. It just popped up, Even yourself. Okay? But dealing with this last part of his question, he said, we know that since that slavery, and he's talking about ancient Egypt, we have experienced the slavery millions of times worse, literally millions of people and more brutal. Yeah, okay. We had this American slavery, all right? But that still doesn't negate the fact that we're the same people that went through the slavery in ancient Egypt, okay? The same people that went through that slavery in ancient Egypt is the same people that went through this transatlantic slave trade, okay? Etc. We're the same people, man. That doesn't negate it, So it comes down to a question to you whether you're going to believe the scriptures or not. Whether you're going to believe in the Bible or not, And I mean, look at the world around. You have World War III literally coming together as we speak. You got the Lord causing that to happen, okay? You got the MOTB, which if you don't know what the MOTB is, it's the RFID micro C hip, if you know what I'm talking about, right? You have that being worked on as we speak. You got this man Trump in office, which he could possibly lead to all hell breaking loose and everything, or aka Jacob's trouble. So the prophecies of the scriptures are true. Let me get this. Scriptures are 100% true, man. All right. You have to have faith in these scriptures. It's the book of Numbers 23, verse 19. And you got to stop, once again, you got to stop listening to these people that claim themselves to do all this research. But Numbers 23 and 19. The Most High is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? And that's a rhetorical question. The Lord doesn't lie. All right? These scriptures don't lie. Okay? This next one. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, which is the book of the Lord is what? The Bible, the Old Testament, all right, the Apocrypha and the New Testament. That's the book you're supposed to read out of. No one of these shall fail, meaning none of the prophecies in here are going to fail. None shall warn her meet, meaning you can't put this, meaning this Bible reigns supreme. You can't make this Bible, you can't make this book with any other book out there. All right? It says, from my mouth that hath commanded and the Spirit hath gathered them. All right? So with that, I hope your question has been answered, man. If you are a sincere Israelite, I hope you should stop with all that, trying to reach, that faulty research and everything that, where you either look this up on your own or heard someone else say, and start learning from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, or GMS for short, which you can find the videos on YouTube. But if you're a scoffer and you won't believe even after this, don't expect me to go back and forth with you. All right? I'm going to block you off my page if you're a real deal demon, But, yeah, man. Okay? So that's it. And then at the end of the day, once again, you either going to believe this truth or you're not. Right? I told you learn from GMS. If you sincere, learn from GMS. All right? Learn the milk. Learn the milk scriptures, and build your way up. Okay? And learn from GMS, right? This is for if you're sincere. Okay? But once again, you either going to believe or you're not, man. It's as simple as that. All right? So, and at the end of the day, even if you don't believe, this was edification to the hopeful elect out there. So with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.